Good morning, good evening, depending on where you're listening from in the world. My name is Jacqueline Dixon, and you're tuned in to the Ordinary People Show. Ordinary people can do extraordinary things, and we're broadcasting live from Toronto, Canada, powered by GBKM TV. I'm in studio this fantastic fall morning, sunny, glorious, warm, an exciting morning in North America, specifically the T Dot, inside the studios live with, of course, social distancing rules always still in place. My producer and myself. And you, the listener, the viewer, we're welcoming you right in this morning to have one of the most outstanding shows that that I've been able to deliver for quite some time. For those of you who follow me on social media, you know who's going to be on today. You know who's waiting in the wings, and you know what type of a discussion we're going to be having today. So super excited about that. So for those of you who don't, you're going to have to sit tight because I'm going to tell you all about it right after our first commercial break. But before that, of course, let me start with my pleasantries as I always do. First of all, we just want to thank our sponsor for allowing us to be on air this morning. And our sponsor is none other than New Era Communications, professional sales training for entrepreneurs and up-and-coming sales professionals. Is your business struggling? Is your sales team struggling? Would you like to know what the process is behind successful sales volumes for your company? Contact neweracommunications.ca. And New Era Communications is also the company that produces Meet the Motivators. Meet the Motivators Professional Speaker Symposium, celebrating women in leadership each and every single year. Ladies and gentlemen, again, my name is Jacqueline Dixon. I'm your host on the Ordinary People Show, and I want you to get comfortable with me today because we're going to be having a very frank and friendly discussion with a lady that I have grown to admire quite some bit in the last week since I have been following her history, and I've been reading up on her and her attitude, her willingness, and her desire to define or redefine the new faces in Canadian politics. And that person is none other than Anna May Paul. And again, she's going to be with us right after my first commercial break. But before we get into all of that, let's just take a breather out. Let's take time out to recognize what momentous occasion we are currently experiencing as I speak. What historical history has been made this morning, ladies and gentlemen. History has been made this morning and is now official. It is in the books. It is down, it's written in the books, locked up. History has made its way into the White House this morning. Why? Because today we will have a new president-elect in the United States of America. Today, the new president-elect is none other than Joe Biden. Vice President Joe Biden has officially clinched the presidency for the United States. He will be the official 46th president of the United States come January 20th, I believe, when he takes that when he attends that inauguration ceremony in Washington, D.C. And for all of the Biden listeners and the Biden voters and all of the Biden supporters, congratulations to you. Kudos to you for all of your efforts and your long-awaited victory. And to all of the Trump supporters and the Trump voters, we say to you, listen, hey, chin up, chin up. You guys did a really good job because I tell you, it was razor thin for quite some time, and so many people just didn't know which way it was going to go for quite a while there. And it goes to show you the resilience and the determination on both sides of the aisle, the Trump supporters as well as the Biden supporters. But at the end of the day, you're only going to have one victor. And that victor today, ladies and gentlemen, was Vice President Joe Biden. A big congratulations as well to Kamala Harris, again, history maker, mover and shaker. She is now going to be the first female vice president to the United States, and the first as well African Caribbean American as well as Asian American to hold that position. We have so much to be grateful for in North America today, so much to be grateful for. Democracy reigns. Democracy reigns today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not make light of it. It is a wonderful thing to be part of a free and democratic society. Now, what we're going to do, let me talk. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take our first commercial break. We're going to be right back, and then I'm going to tell you about today's guest. We're going to bring it back to this side of the border now. We're back in Canada, okay? We're going to bring it to this side of the border. We're going to be talking Canadian politics today, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk about the new faces in Canadian politics, where we are going, and what is our vision for a better future for us Canadians on this side of the border. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back after this first commercial break.
Hello, my name is Ryan Knight, the co-founder and executive director of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network Foundation. I am here excited to announce the new microloan program that we have put together. With the support of Alterna Savings Credit Union and the partnership of SETC, Empowered Forex, and the Dream Legacy Foundation, we're going to be helping more entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage get access to funding and help with their grant writing. Please visit our website, acbncanada.com, to learn more if you're an entrepreneur that's in need of funding or if you would love to support this organization.
Do you believe you could host an entertaining, engaging, and thoughtful weekly show? Or are you a business person or entrepreneur interested in building a brand for yourself? Can you connect with an audience and have strong social media skills? If so, the GBCAM Network would love to invite you to join our team. We're looking for driven, genuine folks who are willing to work hard as an independent broadcaster. If this sounds like you, come join our team. For more information, email your resume to career@gbkm.fm. That is career, CAREER, at gbkm.fm. It's time to turn your
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Ordinary People Show. Ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And I'm your host, Jacqueline Dixon. I'm here each and every Saturday from 12:30 to 1:30 in studio. Today we're going to be talking about Canadian politics. And I want to bring something to your attention. For those of you who don't follow politics as closely as, say, for instance, I do, or maybe some of my listeners, I'm a bit of a political junkie. I do believe in being a part of the process. I do believe that if you're not a part of the solution, then you could potentially be a part of the problem. So my goal is always to provide some sort of solution. What kind of solutions can I bring to the political process here in Canada? What kind of information, what kind of value can I bring to the discussion that we have about Canadian politics and the rules, regulations, processes, and procedures that we have in place? How can I implement change when it comes to something that I might not like or I don't believe will be of value to myself or my household? How do I do that? How do I engage in the process? And how do I have some sort of, or can I even have some sort of impactful influence when it comes to any of these matters? And the quick answer to that is simply yes. Yes, you can. And one of the very first things that you can do, which is probably from an ordinary person perspective, one of the very first things that you can do in order to effect change is to exercise your constitutional right as a Canadian in the voting process by simply participating as a voter, as an eligible voter. You get on multiple occasions to cast your vote, selecting your preference in a candidate that would represent your riding, your district, your province, and your country on multiple times throughout the course of your life. From the age of 18 is when you become an eligible voter here in Canada. And you have to ask yourself, since becoming 18 and, of course, becoming an eligible voter, how many times have you exercised your right to vote, your right to choose who is going to represent you, whether it is on a municipal level, a provincial level, or a federal level? Just a quick note as we wait for our guests to come on. I'll tell you just a little story about a situation that I had. I did not exercise my right to vote as soon as I became 18. It took me quite some while to realize that, you know what? Me sitting back and complaining about what I believe is right or what I believe is wrong in politics and within the individuals that are representing myself and my region, by me sitting back and not participating as a voter, I wasn't really doing all that I could possibly do to affect the changes that I was looking forward to having done. And it wasn't until I got to a point where I became sick and tired of being sick and tired of the same old that I decided to, you know what, I'm going to get involved. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to pay attention to what's happening in my district, in my riding, in my province, and in my country. And I started to look at ways in which I could potentially make a difference. And that's when politics and the political leaders started to become more and more interesting to me. In saying that, research is important. Look at the individuals who represent the riding that you are living in. Look at the representative for that riding, and then you can literally you can move it out further, because there are 3 levels of government that we have in Canada. We have a municipal government. They're the ones who take care of your things like your snow removal, your garbage collection, and your city streets where you live. Your municipal taxes are also paid to them. Those are the people who represent you in places like Toronto City Council. So your city councillor would be your representative on a municipal level. Find out who that individual is. From there, we then go into, of course, provincial government. And provincial government is, individuals like our current premier, which is Doug Ford. They're representing us on a provincial level. That's Ontario versus Quebec versus other provinces, and that's who you would be paying attention on a provincial level. And of course, on a federal level, we're talking the Prime Minister's office, and some more. So now, okay, I'm so sorry. I've been told that our guests are here, and we're going to take a quick commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your patience. We'll be right back with our guest, Anna May Paul, the leader of the Federal Green Party of Canada. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why and wonder how. Don't be alone. Just stay calm, cause even if you choose or not to.
My child, recite the words of this ancient mythology. The wisdom I disperse in this verse, no apology. Memorize to keep you from evil theology. For you, the darker hue, you denied your equality. See, for generations we perpetrated psychology. Divide and conquer each other, really lynch policy. You cannot build each other up, how will you build economy?
Do you know who you are? What is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why and wonder how. Don't be alone. Just stay calm, cause even if you choose or not to.
My child, recite the words of this ancient mythology. The wisdom I disperse in this verse, no apology. Memorize to keep you from evil theology. For you, the darker hue, you denied your equality. See, for generations we perpetrated psychology. Divide and conquer each other, really lynch policy. You cannot build each other up, how will you build economy?
Hello, my name is Ryan Knight, the co-founder and executive director of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network Foundation. I'm here excited to announce the new microloan program that we have put together. With the support of Alterna Savings Credit Union and the partnership of SETC, Empowered Forex, and the Dream Legacy Foundation, we're going to be helping more entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage get access to funding and help with their grant writing. Please visit our website, acbncanada.com, to learn more if you're an entrepreneur that's in need of funding or if you would love to support this organization. Hello, my name is Ryan Knight, the co-founder and executive director of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network Foundation. I'm here excited to announce the new microloan program that we have put together. With the support of Alterna Savings Credit Union and the partnership of SETC, Empowered Forex, and the Dream Legacy Foundation, we're going to be helping more entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage get access to funding.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Ordinary People Show. My name is Jacqueline Dixon. I'm your host. Thank you so much for being patient with us this morning as we welcome our anticipated guest, of course. For those of you who follow me on social media, you know who is waiting in the wings right now, and she's here with us right now. And we're going to introduce you to her in just a millisecond. But before I do, let me kind of set the stage for you a little bit so that you can feel comfortable with the type of discussion that we're going to be having. As you know, as I said earlier before the break, that this is a historical day today in North America for so many reasons. And I'm sure for those of you who haven't, who've opened up your social media or even turned on your television set, you know what's already taken place. We don't have to get into that right now. But there's other history that's being made on this side of the border as well, in my personal opinion. And the history is being made within our own political system here in Canada. There is some historical things that have taken place in the last few years, and we've seen some new faces emerge in Canadian politics. And it's our responsibility as we see it here at GBKM TV to expose and introduce those individuals when we have an opportunity to the grassroots community. At GBKM, we're called the mouthpiece, and we're called the mouthpiece for a reason, because we stay very close to the grassroots community, and we're very much invested in the political discourse here in Canada. We try to ensure that we bring to you all of the political candidates that are vying for your favor here in Canada to the best of our ability, so that you can make an educated decision on who you feel should best represent you and your needs. The person that I am featuring on the Ordinary People show today is called Anna May Paul. And let me tell you a little bit about Anna May. Anna May was born November 3rd, 1972, and she's a Canadian activist and lawyer who has been the leader of the Green Party of Canada since October 3rd of 2020. She is the first Black Canadian and first Jewish woman to be elected leader of a major federal party in Canada. She was a candidate for the 2019 Canadian federal election. Paul won the 2020 Green Party of Canada leadership election to replace Elizabeth May, and Paul ran in the Toronto Centre October 26, 2020 by-election, which was called following the resignation of Bill Monroe, and she was defeated by Liberal Marcy Ian. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome my featured guest today, Anna May Paul, to the Ordinary People Show. Good afternoon, Anna May. How are you today?
Oh, I'm wonderful. It's so great to be with you. And as you said, on a historic day, especially.
Yes, absolutely. It's so fantastic. And the weather is great. You're great. I mean, the history, I'm bursting out of my seams today. I don't even know where to start, because one of the reasons why I'm bursting out of my seams, Anna May, just to let you know, I am one of the biggest cheerleaders when it comes to celebrating women in leadership. I toe the line when it comes to that. And knowing today that we have the first female vice president that has ever been elected to the United States, and she's a woman of color, and now having you on my show, I'm in awe. Okay. So let's break it down. Let's jump right into this and break it down because for those listeners and viewers who don't know much about you and what you stand for, we're going to try to break it down for them in a really simplistic way today so that they can see you as not only a federal leader and a female federal leader, but as a sister, as a mother, and as a wife, right?
Yeah.
So that, because relatability is so important in my personal opinion when it comes to politics, feeling that you can relate to the candidate that you are choosing. Do you believe there's any merit to that?
Absolutely. And I promise that I'm going to try to do everything that I can for, as long as I'm the leader, to really underline exactly that I am still a person. I'm someone who, as you said, is a mother. One of my children wasn't able to return to school this fall because of COVID. You know, he's a university student. I'm a daughter, and my mom is 84, and I haven't been in the same room with her for weeks, again, because of COVID. And so all of the things that people are going through, all of their day-to-day struggles, I want them to understand that I feel them and I'm experiencing them too. And so when I talk about solutions for them, it's because I want them on behalf of the people that I love and on behalf of our communities.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So let's talk about the position that you currently hold right now. You are the federal leader of the Green Party of Canada. That is not a simple accomplishment, let me say that much, okay? So first of all, congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
But let's talk about the federal parties. Now, for too long, Canadians have been caught up in this two-party system. I personally think that having you step into the arena now is going to allow individuals to finally wake up to the fact that we are not bound and restricted to a two-party system here in Canada. There are other federal parties that we can choose to have represent us at the federal level. So, but my question to you is, why the Green Party?
You know, I really believe my family was born in the Caribbean, and pretty much for more than one generation, you're born and they just you just feel almost like they just slapped a liberal sticker on you and said future liberal voter, you know, because that's very much the case in the Caribbean community in particular. And so you're right. You know, it took me all the way to my adulthood to really realize that this was a decision I could make independently. I could weigh up the parties and decide which one best reflected me and my values and the direction I wanted to see Canada go in. And for me, and in answer to your question about why the Green Party, that was the Green Party. I wanted a party that I believed was going to be unafraid of putting out the really important policies, even if they were going to be the first, even if they hadn't been proposed before. I wanted a party that was really serious about progressive politics, about creating a truly just and dignified society. And I wanted a party that was also serious about the climate emergency because, you know, I've spent a lot of time in the room with scientists hearing about it. And, you know, once you've opened your eyes, you really can't close them again. So all of those things brought me to the Green Party because all of those things they do better than anyone else.
Thank you so much for that very, very concise answer. So just for you know, I'm sure you probably know that a lot of individuals don't know enough about the Green Party. We don't know enough about the platform of the Green Party. What do you really stand for? And, you know, if we were to ask the average person about their understanding of the Green Party and what the Green Party stands for, do you know what they will say most of the time? You do know?
Well, the clue is in the name, right?
Right.
The Green Party.
That's right.
That's yeah. So it is absolutely the first thing people think about is they think about the environment, they think about the climate, and they should, because we want them to think about those things when they think about us, but we want them to think about a lot of other things, and certainly I do. And so I've been talking about those things ever since I was selected as the leader. We're the party that talked when I was a candidate in 2019 and well before that about how we needed a guaranteed livable income. Otherwise, people would keep falling through the cracks. We're the ones who called for universal pharmacare, for a true national affordable housing strategy, you know, for true social justice. Because all those things are interconnected, and we really understand that now. So I want them to keep thinking about us because that, again, as I said, it's still a crisis. The climate is still in crisis, but I also want them to know that if they're looking for the home of progressive politics, progressive policies, moving us to a more just and sustainable and equitable society, that's also when they should think of the Green Party.
Very good, thank you. So there's much more substance behind the Green Party than simply climate change and legalization of marijuana. There's more than that, right? There's so much more substance.
But those are good examples to use in this way. I would say to people, we have legalization of cannabis now, for instance, but that took many, many years of the Green Party advocating for that, getting it into the mainstream political conversation before that happened. And the thing is, we're living in a moment now where we're going to need that kind of attitude, those kind of policies over and over and over again. And the Green Party is, at this moment, the only party that has the willingness, the daring to actually put those new innovative policies out there first. Someone has to be able to do that so that we can go from idea to implementation.
Thank you. Can you tell us how it would appear right now, based on the numbers and also based on the amount of attention that the Green Party is getting right now, that your party has moved itself exponentially over the last few years? Can you tell us about the growth that you have seen happen within the Green Party and where you're getting the growth from? Where are you? Are you bringing new voters into the fray, or are you simply just chipping away from what the already established voting blocks that we have, which would, my opinion, probably be the NDP? That's my guess, is where you'd be chipping away a lot of your support from. Can you tell us who are the supporters?
It's both of the things that you described, actually. We talk about Greens growing votes, and when we say that, what we mean is that wherever we run, there tends to be a higher voter turnout. Many of the votes that we attract are new votes from people who might not otherwise have voted. But in addition to that, I think it's really interesting to look at the by-election that I just ran in not that long ago.
Toronto Centre.
About exactly a couple of weeks ago. There, we increased our vote share by 25% from the 2019 election. We got a third of the votes in that riding. And if you look at the Liberals, the NDP, and the Conservatives, they all lost on vote share, and it all went to us. So that 25%, about 15% of that came from Liberals, 5 or 6% from the NDP, and 5 or 6% of it from the Conservatives. So we're attracting people across the spectrum, people that are really looking for positive change, new ideas about how we can get to a new destination as a country. And it's very encouraging for me to see that.
That is so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing those statistics. Now, so let's just drill down on those statistics just a little bit. And it's kudos to you for bringing more people into the fray. But so what you're saying is you chipped away about 25%. First of all, the first question I would ask you is, how dare you even think that you could run in Toronto Centre? That's really ballsy. I mean, that is one of the biggest Liberal strongholds that you could ever go into. And then here you are going into that district, thinking that you could take off, one of the sweethearts. So she's a new face to the Liberal Party, but she's still a Liberal sweetheart. And you actually peeled off 25% of their vote. That's amazing.
50, about 15% from the Liberals. But you know what? You've got to go big sometimes. I mean, I did this first because I have a very long-standing personal connection to the riding. And of course, I ran there in 2019. And I always say to people, what would you do? If you see a riding that is suffering this much and that has been neglected this much, and you have the opportunity to give them a chance at real change, what would you do? So I knew I was going to do it. At the same time, I think that Green should be able to run competitively everywhere. And, this was a chance for us to show what we did, which is that we can be competitive, even in the safest Liberal riding in the entire country. I'm sure that Marcy is going to do a good job on behalf of people in Toronto Centre And, you know, there's so few Black women running in politics that while it was a nice thing to see us running in the same riding, you know, ideally that wouldn't have been the case. But, and I really congratulate her, but definitely I was going to run there. We were going to run competitive. And I feel like we have definitely left that by-election with a clear statement that we are here, that we are going to run competitively all over the country, and that no seat should be considered safe anymore for any of the parties.
100% I agree with you. You did leave your mark. So let's just drill down on that just a little bit more. Marcy Ian, hey, you know what? Everybody is very familiar with her face. She's a public person because of her introduction through media. But what do we really know about her background? I'm not even so sure. You know, we know that she went to, I believe it was Ryerson. We know that she's a journalism major. But again, her background, you know, her introduction to the general public was through media. Now, I read about your background, and I'm going to tell you honestly, you have one of the most impressive backgrounds that I have ever seen any political leader here in Canada hold. And that doesn't get enough attention. The fact that you are actually a Princeton graduate, I mean, for anybody who's ever had the opportunity to read this article in the Toronto Star, I would urge you, if you want to learn a little bit more about this lady and appreciate the caliber and level of intelligence that she comes with, then I would ask you to read the article from the Toronto Star on Monday, October the 19th. It's very, very in-depth. I've read it twice. I was so impressed with you. And the fact that you were one of the youngest females that went into law school here in Canada. And from there, you know, you went on to Princeton. You were a graduate of Princeton. From there, you went on to do international work. Can you tell us a little about your travels since deciding that you wanted to get involved with politics at such a very early age of, my understanding, 12?
Well, that was just to be. I did not know at 12. It would make a nice story to say it. At age 12, I knew that I wanted to do this, but I was very interested in public policy. I was very interested in how government helped to affect change. I was very interested in about how government could help community. And so being a page at 12 was great because it gave me exposure to the legislature and the business that happens in the legislature. And I was a page in the Senate when I was at university in Ottawa. And I did an internship also in the Ontario legislature. That was all really fantastic exposure. And it really gave me a sense very early on of how important politics and how important government still remains in helping good things to happen for people. But, you know, it was also really important to me to do lots of things outside of politics. I really wanted to work in a lot of different areas, to travel. I worked in Belgium, I worked in Spain, I lived in the United States for a number of years. I wanted to be able to bring a very strong lived experience to politics as well whenever I decided to do that. And I know how important that has been for me. And I know it's going to make me a better leader.
Fantastic. Now, I want to talk about, let's kind of move over to a subject that has been getting a lot of attention this year, and it's called systemic racism.
Yes.
And I was really disappointed a few months back when the new leader of the Progressive Conservative Party was asked a very straightforward question, in my opinion, by a reporter. And this is 24 hours after being elected as the new leader of this federal party. And the question was, do you believe that there's systemic racism in Canada? And I was just simply waiting for him to answer with one word, and that would have been yes. But, however, here's how I plan to deal with it, or here are the plans that I have in order to combat this situation. He did not answer that with the answer yes, and he tried to ask the reporter basically what the definition of systemic racism is, which I thought was absolutely abhorrent. So my question to you is, do you believe that there is systemic racism in Canada?
Yes. I mean, I can elaborate, but I will certainly say yes. It is something that I spoke about quite extensively during the campaign. I would have loved to put out even more policy about it, but we at least made sure that we put out a policy on dismantling systemic racism in our criminal justice system, particularly in policing. But absolutely, look, this is something that the United Nations has recognized exists in Canada. They specifically, in 2017, in their working group of experts report on people of African descent in Canada, specifically said in their conclusions that systemic racism existed throughout our institutions in Canada. So, I am a Black woman living in Canada. There's no question. I'm aware of that. There's no question that the debate and the jury is in. This is something that exists, and it continues to be a painful source of oppression for people of color, particularly Indigenous and Black people in this country.
Thank you. Now, the fact that we acknowledge, they say the first step to healing is to first acknowledge that there's a problem.
That's right.
So if we could all just kind of come to the conclusion that systemic racism exists, however, there are many different ways that we can try to combat this issue and find solutions for it so that we can have a more perfect union going forward. That's the type of a conversation. Those are the type of responses that I believe that the Canadian people are looking to hear from our leaders. Not to act as if something which is so clearly obvious doesn't exist. However, we don't let these obstacles become a barrier to our success. You clearly haven't allowed that obstacle to become a barrier to your success. I certainly haven't. And there's many other Black women in leadership roles that have not allowed that to become a barrier as well. Can you tell us some of the things that you have done in order to overcome the obstacles that you have faced as not just a female, but a Black female leader in order to be where you are today?
Well, first of all, I had the good fortune of being the daughter and granddaughter of two extraordinary women who came from the Caribbean, both as professionals. My grandma was a nurse, my mother was a teacher, and they came here and had to start all over. They had to work as domestics, live-in housekeepers in order to get their permanent residency. My mom had to go back to school all over again and get her degree and get her qualifications to become a teacher. And my mom got her master's degree while she had 4 children under the age of, I guess we were between 15 and 8 years old when she finally got her master's from the University of Toronto, while she was working full-time and teaching night school and sending money back home. So if my mom could do that and my grandma could do what she did, there were not going to ever be any excuses for her kids and their grandkids not to use their talents and not to make sure that they accomplish whatever they set out their minds to do. So that was a big part of it for me. And the other part of it, and this is the case for everyone, I'm sure it is for you too, is having some mentors, people who really believe in you and are willing to put their time and energy and networks at your disposal in order to help support you on your career path. So those are the things for me, and I never really questioned whether I could succeed because my mom would never have actually permitted that. So
I love that answer. You never even questioned whether or not you could succeed. That's the same attitude that I have as well. Kudos to you for that. So let's talk about now, listen, work-life balance. It's not easy. You're a mother. You're in an interracial relationship. And you have embraced Judaism, and you're raising a family in the Jewish religion. Tell us what that's like. I mean, that must have been a big decision for you to make, and how was it received?
Well, I converted a long time ago. So almost all of my adult life, I've been Jewish, and My partner and I, my husband and I, we met in law school. We've been together going on, I think next year will be 28 years. So, closer to 30 years than 25. We've been married for 24. And so this has been a part of my life for many, many, many years. And it's been wonderful. My kids are older now. My sons are 16 and 20. They're very proud to be Black. They're very proud to be Jewish. There are a lot more Black Jews in this world than people would imagine. I'm actually the oldest. This is a little fun fact. The oldest Jewish cemetery in the Western Hemisphere can actually be found on the island that my mother and grandmother are from, Nevis. This is an island of 10,000 people, yet it still has the oldest Jewish cemetery in the Western Hemisphere. So, this is something that was always very comfortable with, and it's been just a real pleasure leading this life with my family. A lot of great food.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So listen, you're not the only big shot in that household. I understand. I've read a little bit about your husband as well,
Yeah.
and what you say that it's been 28 years. I mean, you look really good. Let me tell you that much.
Thank you.
But your husband, tell us a little bit about his background and I understand that he's a human rights lawyer. Am I correct?
That's right. His area of specialization is international human rights law. While I was doing my master's at Princeton, he was doing his master's in law at Columbia, and specializing in that area. And so he runs a global think tank that focuses on how to support societies that are transitioning toward democracy, create a sustainable transition. Because it's one thing to move in that direction, but you want to make sure that you're creating all of the conditions that will allow it to thrive and become permanent. And his particular area of specialization in are amnesty laws, truth commissions, how to deal with legacies of human rights abuses. So yes, exactly. When we're talking about the superstar of the family who's actually out there helping to save the world, it is definitely my husband, and I'm very, very proud of him. He's also a prolific writer. He's written, I think, it's either 3 or 4 books with Cambridge University Press now, and he's quite an extraordinary person. I'm very lucky to have him.
Yeah, it sounds like that as well. Okay, We're going to bring it back to politics now, and we're going to talk about the fact that you were defeated in your attempt to secure the seat in the Toronto Centre. And there's a little bit of chat going on in the background about that. There was some controversy with that seat, and maybe you can clarify some stuff for us. Because my understanding is that Elizabeth May, when Jagmeet Singh, who is the leader of the federal party, did not have a seat in the House of Commons, Elizabeth May, who was the leader of the Green Party at that time, was so very gracious as to actually not run a candidate in the riding that he had to move out to in hopes of getting a seat in Commons, because there is very good reason to believe that if she did, he would not have been the victor. And as a result of that, he was able to secure his seat, and that's why he now has a seat in the House of Commons. That gesture was not given back to the Green Party when you were attempting to run in Toronto Centre. So instead of them backing out of a situation where they knew that they pretty well had no chance of winning, they still ran a candidate, and that gesture just wasn't returned. It wasn't reciprocated. Can you tell us what are the sentiments? What are your sentiments behind that? And what are your
I
thoughts?
knew that there was going to be a full slate of candidates, and I did not expect the NDP to let's say recuse themselves or to choose not to run a candidate. I mean, they have never done any favors like that for us under their current leadership, and I certainly had no expectations that they were going to make an exception for me. So, we ran knowing that the odds were definitely going to be stacked against us. Just keep in mind also that we only had 3 weeks, just under 3 weeks to do the entire campaign, and that was a 2 week delay, right? The Liberals had 2-week head start. Plus, of course, they knew they were going to call the by-election, so they were able to hit the ground running. So, would it have helped? I'm sure that it would have helped. But did I expect it? Absolutely not. And I mean, considering that we received double the vote that the NDP did in that riding, I think that people in the riding, and this is a riding that's held provincially by the NDP, I think it was really clear that people in the riding were ready to make a new choice, to make a positive choice. That many people, a third of the people in the riding felt that that was going to be the Green Party. And I do think if we had a couple of more weeks, we might actually have
You could
won
have
the
pulled it
seat.
off. Yeah.
It's always coulda, woulda, shoulda,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we have, again, this is a riding that that the Liberals won with 57% of the vote, the vote share just last year, 57%. And so the fact that, again, we did so well in so little time, first of all, it's a credit to people in Toronto Centre. I'm so proud of them, for every single one of them that had the courage to vote for something different, something that they had never voted for before.
Awesome. So the last thing I'll say about that particular race before we talk about the future is this. I was when I first saw the promos going out about the fact that that's the race that you were entering into, I thought the first thing that came across my mind is, black on black crime. Talk about, but let's be realistic now. There are new faces that are coming into the political arena now, right? And we're going to have to get comfortable, in my opinion, I don't know how you feel about it, but we're going to have to get comfortable with, duking it out, like coming up against another individual of color. And how are we going to act? How are we going to behave? It's not all or nothing, is it? We're going to have to get comfortable with being able to duke it out in the arena with a sister, with a brother. Do you not agree with that?
100%. And, there's some benefits to it, because even as you've seen down in the United States, there is this common perception, and it's a misperception that the Black community, the Black diaspora, is a monolith. We all think the same way, we all vote the same way, and that's just simply not the case. And so, even this year, having Dr. Lewis run a very, very, very competitive race for the leadership of the Conservative Party, and seeing Marcy and I run in the same riding against each other, I would say that the only silver lining of that is that it helps people to see that we have, we come in with different politics, we have different perspectives. That you can't just assume that that we're all going to be running for the same parties. And definitely, as much as it sounds strange to say it, what we do want to see are many, many people of color having to run against each other, because there are so many people of color running federally, provincially, municipally, that, there's no alternative. That's exactly what we want to see. So,
I
but it's
agree
true.
with you.
It still feels a little strange. But yes, it is the future. It's definitely the future.
Good, and I agree with you. And I want to commend both of you ladies for being so respectful towards each other at the end of the day. That was so awesome. Listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break and come back and ask you the final questions, which is what is in store for the future for Annamie and the Green Party, and where are you off to next in order to get your seat in the House of Commons? Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to the Ordinary People Show today with our exclusive interview with the leader of the Federal Green Party. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Funding and help with their grant writing. Please visit our website, acbncanada.com, to learn more if you're an entrepreneur that's in need of funding or if you would love to support this organization. Hello, my name is Ryan Knight, the co-founder and executive director of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network Foundation. I'm here excited to announce the new microloan program that we have put together. With the support of Alterna Savings Credit Union and the partnership of SETC, Empowered Forex, and the Dream Legacy Foundation, we're going to be helping more entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage get access to funding and help with their grant writing. Please visit our website, acbncanada.com, to learn more if you're an entrepreneur that's in need of funding or if you would love to support.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the Ordinary People Show. My name is Jacqueline Dixon. I'm your host, and I'm excited today to have my featured guest, which is the federal leader of the Green Party of Canada, and it's Annamie Paul, and she's with us here today to discuss her vision for Canada and the future for the Green Party. And it's our last question of the day. I know I've hogged up your time. I'm just so excited to have you here, and I can have you here for easily another hour, but you've got things to do. But listen, while the viewers are watching live or they're watching it on a replay, I'm sure they're going to take a lot from this interview that's going to help them to formulate some conclusions and do some more investigating as to who you are and what the Green Party stands for. But maybe you can just kind of close out the show today by giving us some insight as to what your plans are right now. Right now, you don't currently have a seat in the House of Commons. We need you in the House of Commons. I need to see you there to bring more flavor to this whole thing. And where are you going to get that seat from? What are the plans?
Well, a big part of it is going to depend on when we have the next election. The Parliament right now, unfortunately, is giving all of the telltale signs that it's not going to last much longer. I hope I'm wrong, because we're in a pandemic and there's still a lot of work to do that won't get done if we're plunged into an election during this time. What I promised our members I would do is look all over the country to determine where would be the best place for me to run, to see where I'm invited to run, because Greens, we're different. I can't just drop myself in somewhere without invitation and take that seat. So we're actually having those conversations right now, and we know that we need to make a decision very quickly because we could have an election at any time. In the meantime, I'm doing this. I'm trying to spread the word. I'm trying to let our communities know, I'm trying to let all the Black communities know you're welcome in our party. We want you, your talent, your intellect in our party. We want you to run for our party. And so I'm always going to, whenever I get the chance in the interview, make that, direct appeal to people and tell them to please get in touch with them if they're excited about anything that I've shared with them today about our party and the future that we have in mind for Canada.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And you heard that, ladies and gentlemen, the invitation given to you by Anna May herself. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you so much for tuning into the Ordinary People Show. But most of all, I want to thank you, Anna May, and the Green Party team for accommodating GBKM TV. And we look forward to having you back with us again in the near future. And much success to you and your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I can't wait for the next invitation. This was so much fun.
It was. Have a great Saturday.
You too.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard me wrap up the interview with our federal leader of the Green Party, a lady that we can all be proud of, regardless of what your political feelings are or where your interests are politically. She's a lady we can all be proud of, especially if you...
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining us again for what is going to be another amazing episode of the Almadata Show. Good morning, Toronto. Good morning, Ward. And for this morning, I'm going to say good morning to all my beautiful people in Morocco, because my guests are from Morocco this morning. Thank you for making me the part of your start of your weekend. I hope you have your cup of coffee and your tea ready. Let's do this. Good morning, everybody. So we are starting the show this morning. 2 weeks ago, I told you guys that I was going to be introducing you to my family. So first of all, to start my morning, to start the show today, I'm going to be introducing you to one amazing woman that is behind me, that make me who I am today, that pushes me every day. The show is all about family, I told you guys. So here, let me show you what I'm talking about.
Well, I just want to say I'm not surprised, when my younger sister said to me, oh, you know what, I want to, pursue my dream now. I want to pursue my dream. I want to, start have my own show and be able to do this and do that. So it just, I just remember being her manager back in Nigeria. She had she was an artist. She had a song out, she did her photo shoots. Then she had this motherless home she used to go, support, so it's always been about, being there for people, trying to help people, trying to make a difference. So you know what, I'm not surprised, being your manager before. So you know what, if you're still looking for a manager, I'm right here. So big up to you. I'm happy for you. Trust me, I'm excited for you. I know this is God, just leading you, so the best is yet to come. Like I said, you know what, I love you, you know I got love for you, Well, tune in on my Dede show, tune in November 6th, 2020. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Omadede Show. I hope now you know where I'm coming from. Now you know why I am who I am. I love you, sister. Thank you. I didn't really force them to do that. She just did it voluntarily, Like I said, I hope you guys have your cup of coffee ready because we have some juicy money to go. I have a juicy topic on my
Welcome to your favorite show, The Discussion. I'm your host, Chelsea Okonji. Thank you for joining us on the GBKM network. If you haven't yet, please download our app, search GBKM on iOS or Android, or you could just sign up on YouTube and follow, subscribe, comment, join the discussion. Remember to also follow us on all our socials. Just search for GBKM network and you'll be able to connect with us. Again, today, I am here with a very special guest. I mean, you can just imagine how excited I am and how excited I know you guys are since we put out the flyers that we have this special guest in here. We're discussing women taking up space and women in politics. And our guest is none other than the most vocal representative that is she's an advocate for youth representation. She is an advocate for promoting the culture and just inclusiveness. She is also a keen voice for the youth. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Go ahead and help me to welcome Itohan.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. It's an honor to be on the show here today.
Awesome.
I was definitely looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah.
Now I've watched you do your thing on the show, and I'm like, this is so perfect. I can't wait till she interviews me. However,
cool.
my name for the camera is Itohan Evagaru, and she's given me such a great introduction. There's not much more I can say.
No. You definitely wear many hats. So tell people about some of the things that you do, basically.
Well, there's a whole lot of things that I do. I don't really like to put myself in a bubble or, just put myself under one category. I think I'm very diverse, and even in what I do. So I think it's kind of cliche. I don't like the term to use that terminology and say I'm a politician. But what I do is I politic. Yes. And I aim to represent the underrepresented population here in Canada, and most specifically in the city of Toronto, but also in Africa, you know what I mean, where the roots are. So it's always been my, joy and duty to be able to stand for those who are not in the political sphere, those who may be young, but not really kind of haven't really wrapped their head around the political system. I've always tried to be that person in the middle to make sure that they're informed, because at the end of the day, they are the future of any economy. And of course, I'm I think a huge representative for the culture. I love my culture a lot, and I do my best to make sure that it's implemented in everything that I do.
Let's get right into that, because you're definitely like you're so proud of your culture.
Of course.
You showcase it. If you go on her socials, you'll be able to see like you bring your culture with you, and sometimes it looks like it's very nice to see, especially here in the diaspora. So tell us, I just want to start from the beginning. Like, how did your journey even like start?
Well, honestly speaking, I have to, I always, anytime I have the opportunity, I give my parents the most thanks, because I believe that if it wasn't for the type of parents that I'm blessed to have, I don't think I would be the woman that I am today. I grew up in a home that was very diverse. My mother is an Eritrean, my father is a Nigerian, so it's from East and West Africa. And both of them are from two of the most powerful kingdoms in East and West Africa. So I've always seen that confidence within them. And, one thing about my parents is that out of like all my siblings, everybody knows I'm the most spoiled child. Like, it was never a no. Are
you the middle child?
No, I'm not. No. It was never a no. It was never oh, you can't do this. Like, my parents would like make sure that everything that was in their power to give me, I had it, and I had a lot of things. So I'm thankful for that. And that, the reason why I mention that is because without that, I don't think I'd have confidence.
Right.
Actually, how it kind of made me get into politics in a sense is the fact that, when you grow up and you're a diva and you're spoiled and you have all these different things, it's kind of hard to grow up and be in the real world and not have everyone say yes to you, not have everyone say the world revolves around you. And
is true.
I understood that. I knew there were more pressing issues and more bigger things that, I had to get out of my head for.
Okay.
And I think with that being said, just the way I was raised, it kind of gave me that confidence already. So obviously when you kind of grow up and you have bigger issues to worry about, it's easy for you to step back into that diva zone, step back into that confidence zone and do what you do. And that's why I've been able to, I guess, build the empire that I'm building right now politically.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what? When I went to York University, studied global political studies, and I remember taking that major because I wanted to get into law school. So I'm like, oh, I need something, an undergrad, just anything. Let me get into law school.
Okay.
Doing politics in school was quite interesting because, when you're in school, you're learning a lot of the books and the history.
Yes.
For me, I felt very bored of that. I joined certain groups, Amnesty International. I was a part of all these little groups within the school, but I didn't like it. I said, you know what, me that I am, I like power. I like being in control. Going back to the diva mode that my parents created me to be. So I wanted something that's more realistic, more that's more impactful. So I started joining organizations out of school. I really put myself out there. I really put myself in seats and in positions where I didn't see anyone that looked like me.
Exactly.
I remember sitting down in meetings where I wasn't invited. I would just go and sneak in and and find myself sitting at the back there, being the youngest, being mainly, to be honest, the only black female in the room as well.
Exactly.
And I would listen, and I'd always, be able to, I'd go and sneak and speak to these politicians and speak to all these leaders and tell them my views and tell them my, my ideas and whatnot. And that only made me, I think, be more comfortable to kind of be more daring and challenge their ideas. But that's a little bit of just how the political journey started. I saw that, and when I finally got into the system and I realized that, I was outside of school doing bigger things with different organizations in the open world, I realized that there was an underrepresentation.
Definitely.
I realized that it's the problem is not me being the only female in the room, black female in the room. The problem is the fact that even no matter what race was around me, there was nobody there that looked like me.
Exactly.
And it's beyond race and color. It has to do with style, the way I think. I'm born in a different generation. All these things, there was no one there. So that kind of just motivated me to really kick-started, and the rest was pretty much history.
That definitely brings me to the next question, because from what you've explained, it takes a lot of courage to, at such a young age, go and sit in those meetings and then like just go and speak to politicians without having any, it takes a lot of courage.
It does.
So my next question is, being all that you are right now, you embrace your culture, you embrace the fact that you're a diva, you embrace your, courage and everything, being a woman, being a minority, being a black woman, and being young as well. How do you think that has played a part in your life moving forward, especially where you are at right now?
Well, it's played a huge part in my life, to tell you the truth. It has a lot to do with my confidence, and confidence is everything, because say I'm not politicking today and I'm doing something else in life, I need that confidence.
That's true.
And fortunately for me, that confidence is what has basically been able to put me through different situations. I'll never forget the day someone close to me, I looked at this person as a big sister, and I know they meant well, but the way they came off, it was a lot. And I'll just give you that statement of what was said to me.
Okay.
I remember her saying, you know, she called me by my Eritrean name. She says, Meheret. She was in London. She says, Meheret. I said, yes.
Okay.
She says, you have to decide whether you want to be a Barbie doll or you want to be a politician. So
wow.
I understood exactly what she meant. She meant you gotta make a decision if you want to be the person that you are, which is a diva, you know, the fierce woman that does so many other things outside of politics, or you have to decide to be the politician. Did that mean wearing suit and tie? Did that mean literally cutting off my friends and hanging out with older political leaders? Did that mean not attending certain events? Did it mean changing my life?
Yeah.
And that's where that boldness came in. So, you know, being who I am, seeing how diverse I am, seeing, you know, knowing my history as well. I always say to know where you're going to, you have to have an idea of where you came from. So all of that tied in gives me that confidence. And with that confidence, I can get through almost anything that I put my mind you know, towards. Amen.
Amen to that. That was a very well said answer. And have you found that, you know, by breaking the stereotypes, because you are breaking stereotypes, there are not many politicians that, you know, are fabulous and are also social and are also like keeping up with the times and are young, to be honest. So have you found that this has, you know, made people want to inspire more people to be themselves and then to go into politics? Or
oh yes, I get on a daily so many messages from individuals, whether it be in the UK, in Africa, in the States, in Canada, name it. I've gotten various messages from people, and these people are, you know, messaging me just saying, you are such an inspiration. We see ourselves in you, whether it be a young girl who doesn't know what she wants to do yet, or a girl who's into business, or a female that's into politics. They say, with you, we see that we can still be us and do what we want to do. And for me, that's why I am who I am. I want to show people that, you know what, today you can be in office and you can be debating with the mayor, you can be debating with the prime minister, you can be debating with ministers and trying to advocate for what you think is right. And tomorrow, you know, you could be at a patio having the best time of your life, popping some champagne. You know what I mean? Like, you are who you are, and at the end of the day, who you are outside of your work life should not describe who you are in your work life. I think that for you to be as leaders, why we fail to have the best leaders all over the world is because we fail to have authentic leaders, leaders that are not just set up in a way which people want to, you know, kind of just have you set up as. We need authentic people who are not afraid to be who they are, wholeheartedly and authentically. And when you have the type of history and the background, you know, that I have coming from the kingdoms that I come from, you brag different and you do it confidently. So yeah.
I think this is a very great thing, especially for people to see, especially for people all around, especially for young girls, especially for women, to be able to see this confidence being just out and taking over the world the way you're doing.
Yes.
So I just want to ask, how do you balance your social life, your regular life with your politicking?
I mix it. I mix it. I don't like to feel the pressure of my political life. I don't like to feel the pressure of my normal life. And I find that sometimes when you focus on one more than the other, that's when that pressure really starts to kind of creep up on you. So for me, I think what I do is literally just, I'm myself. I embrace who I am. You know, if I have deadlines or I have meetings, I'm coming in not just as, you know, the politician, but I'm coming in as who I am. I'm coming in as Itoha. I'm coming in as, my friends call me, my nickname on the sheets is Madam M. I'm coming in the way I am. You know what I mean? M for moving mountains is what they call me. I didn't give myself that nickname.
You didn't give yourself that nickname.
My friends did.
Moving mountains.
I got that nickname from my friends, and so I come in that way, and that's how I balance it. You know, I'm naturally, I think, an outspoken person. So in my social life, in my, you know, career, in my family life, I'm pretty much the same person. So it's really easy for me to do that. And I always have to go with a mission and an aim, right? Whenever you walk into a situation or any type of environment, always go with an aim. Have that confidence. That confidence is not just being able to speak. It's about knowing what you're talking about.
Exactly.
And when I do that, I am who I am. I'm the same person who woke up from, you know, bed this morning. Nothing changes. Maybe I'm dolled up, but nothing changes.
I feel like that's why people also gravitate towards you, because we find that a lot of people, especially in the social media age, gravitate gravitate towards authenticity.
Yes.
And then it's not very easy to see someone be so authentic, be so themselves,
Yes.
and yet strive and achieve so many things. So I think Madam M is like pretty simple. Well, moving mountains. Moving on, let's talk more about your cultural background.
Definitely.
Tell the people where you're from.
Oh, with pride.
Nigerian time.
With pride. All right, guys.
What is your favorite dish from where you're from as well?
All right, so you know, I'm gonna give you guys both the East and West because I have to be fair. So right now you guys are going to be speaking to Itohan, and then I'm going to let you guys speak to Mehera after. Itohan is from the ancient city of Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. Yes, you know what I mean? I always brag about Benin. You know what I mean? As a Nigerian, if there's any Nigerians watching, you can't talk about the history of Nigeria and not mention the Benin Kingdom. It's impossible.
It's very rich.
It's very rich,
like,
and
their heritage.
And you know, our heritage is rich because our kingdom has played a huge part.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Oba of Benin is a very powerful man, and our ancestors are powerful as well.
Exactly.
You know, and when you look at the history of the world and you compare it to Benin, you, like I said, you brag different.
You bragged.
So, you know, I have to put this in here. I hope you don't mind.
Okay.
That you know, when I think about Benin, I just have this certain type of joy, and I can't lie. Being from Benin has given me this extra load of confidence.
Yeah.
Only because, like I said, it's just not just a word of mouth. Me saying, "Hey, we're from Benin and we're powerful." Actually, I'm just going to put in a fact here. They say the largest man-made wall, the largest wall in the world is the Wall of China. That's incorrect. If you Google this. If you Google this, the largest wall that's ever created in this world was the Wall of Benin. It was said to be 4 times larger than the Wall of China. When you actually look at texts and documents from Portuguese and from Europeans, their texts will tell you about Benin. They will tell you that once upon a time, Benin was known for its extravagance, for its beauty, for its development. They called it a first-class African city when they weren't considering many places in Africa as a city. In comparison to the UK, they said that the UK was known for poverty, robbery, all these different type of things, while Benin was so safe that, you know, there were no doors or nothing. It was a different type of living. So when it comes to my history, I guess that's how you know I'm very, very, very proud to be from that powerful kingdom. And then you have East Africa. Like I said, my mother is from Eritrea and Ethiopia. You have the Ethiopian Empire, which again is very historic. You cannot talk about the world
without
you cannot talk about even some Bible facts without going back to Ethiopia.
That is true.
So when you come from such a powerful place, even though you're born and raised in Canada, you know your history, you know the history of your people. You know, you're just gonna walk, your
different. Shoulders high.
You're gonna walk different. You're gonna know the power, and that power is not just gonna be in your mind. You're definitely gonna have to portray in anything you do. So that's how my culture kind of just affects me, and literally is like my life.
Thank you so much for that answer. Do you ever visit? Do you ever go Nigeria?
Oh, most definitely. I've been to Nigeria 3 times.
Oh, yeah?
So the first time I was there for 6 months. Second time I was there for almost 2 years.
Wow.
The third time I was there for about 4 months. I've never been to Eritrea, unfortunately. I hope to go this year. You know, COVID, everything is better. However, I've been to Nairobi, Kenya. That's where my grandparents live from my mother's side. So Kenya is another place that's really special in my heart because it's where my mother was raised. So yes, pretty much. I love Africa. You know, the future is Africa. We should not forget it. A lot of people see me and they say, this woman, she's a politician in Canada. She does these different things. A little secret I'm going to tell you guys between me and you. You guys are the only people hearing this. This is exclusive content.
Exclusive content.
Because I don't say this anywhere, but the truth about it is that I have a difficult time thinking about my life because I really do. My heart is in Africa. Politically, I think the future is in Africa. I think there's a lot of the work that I put in here should be done in Africa. You know, so that's a little secret. Really, don't tell the Canadian government, please. Don't tell them, but pretty much.
So do you ever see yourself moving back to Africa?
100%. I plan to retire there.
Really?
100%.
But it's good that you're doing the work here right now, so that when you go back home, there's something to, you know, take back with you, and then you have the experience from here to be able to. Africa is a different ball game.
I don't think that there's anything for me to take back from my knowledge here back to Africa, to tell you the truth. I don't think that the system that we have in Africa is meant for Africa. So I'm not going to model that system with what we have in Canada. Like, I'm Canadian and that it is what it is, but at the end of the day, everyone has their homeland, their mother and their fatherland, and everyone has a system that worked for them once in the past. And unfortunately, the system that we have in Africa does not work
for us.
Even in Canada, the system does not work. You know what I mean? I definitely do. First and foremost, I definitely do have to talk about the students. Unfortunately, the residential students who were found, their bodies were found. Unfortunately, it goes to show you the type of systems that there are around the world.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, we have to remember that this is stolen land as well.
Exactly.
This land is not completely ours. I've always said the moment they say Indigenous people should come and take the whole of Canada, I'm ready to pack my things and go back to Africa. Respectfully. You know what I mean? Right. So it gets kind of complicated in that sense.
No, I totally understand that. Right now, we have to take a quick break. So just stay with us. Definitely. Stay tuned. We're going to take a quick 30-second break. We'll be right back. See you soon.
My name is Carol, and I'm currently a project coordinator. I took the project management course. I learned a number of things, one of which was interview skills. I learned about the Agile framework and how that's very different from the waterfall model of project management.
At Top Run Consulting, the key unique area that we try to focus on is not to just impart certification knowledge, but the application of real-world tools.
Back in June 2017, I did the business analysis course at Top Run. I learned the basic and advanced skills and tools to be successful in business analysis field.
Welcome back to your favorite show, The Discussion. If you are just joining us, we have a very special guest here with us, Itohan, and we are discussing all things from politics to her personal life to just who she is as a person.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So right now, let's dive right into politics.
Sure.
Tell me, what do you think about the election so far?
Honestly speaking, I think that, a lot of people have a misunderstanding when it comes to Western politics.
Mm-hmm.
They think that the Western world is the founder of democracy.
That's true.
Unfortunately, democracy doesn't always happen in these spaces, and I think that when we even look at the previous elections, we can look at, for example, the 2018 election in City Council, for example, you could see that democracy just didn't play its part. We had the Premier, Doug Ford, at the time, I don't know if you can recall, he cut the size of City Council in half, literally in the middle of the election. So imagine having to literally, them announcing to candidates who have already created their budget, who have created their strategy, have their volunteers, their schedules. Imagine in the middle of the election hearing, if you guys want to contest, well, you have to now come and sign a new nomination form because there's a change of ward, meaning the population is changing, meaning the whole game and everything changes.
Is changing.
A lot of people dropped out of the race.
Right.
It did affect the election. The amount of seats we have in our government also affects the way our economy, the way our country is run. So, it's quite unfortunate that democracy is the way it is, especially in the Western world. You think that it'd be the other way, but when it comes to elections can be way better. I think we need more diversity in our elections. We need more representatives to come up. We need young people. I'm channeling. I'm challenging you guys all to the next election. Run, ask somebody, find out. There are many organizations who are ready to support candidates. Get out there, put your name forward, and talk to community members. We need diversity in politics. This election looked like many other elections that have passed. There's nothing new that has come from it. Our seats still look the same. The government looks the same, and we need to pretty much challenge that. I've been running since 2018. I've lost many times, you know what I mean? It's not the end. Losing is one thing. Every great politician has had many losses.
Exactly.
So I take that as an award. I lost and I lost with my
Plus,
chest.
it's a build up to your success story
Exactly.
eventually when it happens.
Exactly.
So are you going to keep running?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I will continue to run. There are a lot of people, like you mentioned earlier, who, just really believe in my representation. There's an army of people behind me who want to see someone as bold and confident as I am to challenge the status quo government. And it's going to continue to be my mission to represent the people and represent them wholeheartedly in the way in which I feel they should be represented.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that answer. That was amazing. Now, in terms of politics, again, I know you're going to keep running, but what is your end goal?
I'd like to be the Prime Minister of Canada.
There you go.
I will be the Prime Minister of Canada.
There you go.
And thankfully, in a system like ours, it's possible.
Yes,
you
it is
just
possible.
need to continue and make sure that you have the people's support, because indeed it is power to the people and not done alone.
So what did you learn so far from running? Like your past, how has it, impacted? What are you going to change moving forward? What have you learned from your previous runs?
I learned that politics is very petty. When you're sitting down with representatives and you're advising them, say you sit on an advisory body, or you sit on a youth council, for example, you're meant to advise government officials for certain matters. It's very different from when you're campaigning and you decide to run against somebody. Politics can get very petty. So what I know is that you have to put your head on your shoulders.
Right.
You have to be, I don't believe you have to be sneaky, but you have to know your game. You have to have your team members, and you have to make sure you have loyal team members.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the game is, it's
the game.
It's the game.
It's the game.
You know what I mean?
To be
I've learned that
honest.
you should never give up.
Right.
I've learned that you should, day and night, you have to sweat. Politics is sweat. It's not like back home where politics is done. I don't want to get too much into that, but politics is done very differently. Over here, you have to really blood, sweat, and tears. You have to knock on doors, meet so many people. You can't be afraid, and every vote counts. And
Exactly.
that's what I've learned.
Because democracy actually works here.
Yes.
So it's really power to the people, like you
Yes,
say.
it
So
is.
what is one thing that you learned that you will never do again?
Oh goodness, one thing that I've learned that I will never do again. Okay, this is like from my first election, okay? Don't judge me.
No judgments.
My planning, I failed to plan, I failed to plan, and that was unfortunate. Now, I've had a lot of people really come to me and talk to me about that, especially loved ones who wish me well. Quite frankly, the owner of this amazing business, this amazing
establishment,
It's a broadcasting company. It happens to be my uncle. He's very close with me as well.
Right.
And he was also one of the people. I just have to give that shout out. He was also one of the people who said and came to me and said, Itoa, you need planning. You need your support. You need the community. You need everyone, even if they don't live in your area. That you need everyone around you, pushing you, and that's how we can win. So I learned to be a bit more inclusive and stop trying to figure out everything myself. I'm a perfectionist, and get more people involved, even if they aren't in the area. And what I failed to do was get people from outside the area involved in what we're doing.
But I see that you have taken, because your next election, your next run was like, different.
You live and
you're
you
going
learn.
to keep doing different, like moving forward.
You live and
so
you
I
learn.
can, yeah, exactly. I can see that you have learned. Speaking on community, I also see that you're huge in like giving back.
Yes,
Yes,
I am.
you're very big on giving back. Tell me
Yes.
why that's important to you and important to the community as a whole.
I think it's important because it's easy for me to work based off my knowledge and say, you know what, the government needs to approve this and the budget needs to go to this. But I've been in city council, and when I've seen billions of dollars passed in a second just by one vote, billions of dollars have been invested into one thing, and I just remember sitting down in that room saying, oh my goodness, if only they took this advice and they invested that $1 billion into something else. Imagine how it would affect other people. So for me, I'm all about giving back to the people who are really behind the scenes. You know what I mean? The people who are not always involved in politics, who aren't always on the front lines. There are a lot of people who need it. I don't believe in literally just saying I'm a politician, I'm a leader, by just sitting down and making decisions. I think that leaders know where to find the people who need the help.
Exactly.
And that's what I've made it my mission to do. I have an organization called the Moving Mountains Foundation. And what we do at the Moving Mountains Foundation is we create initiatives, right? Where we either feed, sponsor, and educate those who are, underprivileged. And it's an honor. I think that's the greatest gift, to be able to do that. I think there's nothing bigger and better than doing that. At the end of the day, politics is there to help. Politics is there to be a system to provide, to be a system where everyone can live in peace. And for me, I like to sometimes step out for a second and really do the dirty work, and that means making sure that we get things to be able to give to people and really exercise true leadership.
And people don't realize that leadership is about serving.
It is service.
So the more you serve, the better you are as a leader.
Yes. Politicians are getting paid for you, okay? Don't be
Exactly.
intimidated. Politicians, a lot of the leaders that we have in our economy are paid to service you. And it's easy to forget that when they have so much power, press and all of that, but they serve you. So
They serve you.
You could tell a lot about a leader. I always say when voting, you have to look at a proven track record. Before this leader was elected into office, what were they doing?
What were they doing?
Were they talking to the people? Were they helping people? It says a lot about the type of leadership that they can offer. If they can do that without being elected into office, imagine what they can do when they finally are elected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One more question that I have. Do you find that you got enough support from the African community, especially the African community? Speak a little bit about on that.
I'm going to be very honest with you. And I hope, my African people, I don't get bashed for this. I feel like, I did get support. I feel like, especially in my community, like the Bini community, there were a lot of supportive voices and people who really, they were just so proud. Even the ones that are all the way in Nigeria, they're just so proud to say, oh, our own daughter, our own sister is doing this. But I feel like Nigeria is a big country, and there's so many different tribes, so many different ethnic groups, and I feel like we need to start normalizing celebrating everyone and anyone, no matter what tribe you're from or who you are.
Exactly.
I feel like I could have got more support from the African community. I feel like, you know, there should have been at least just more love. You know what I mean? I think that there's not even a lot of African people in power. We don't. You can count the amount of people, African people who have sat down in parliament, who have sat down in city council, who have sat down in the legislative assembly. It's not a lot. So I think that, you know, our people should be pushing, not just me, but
as
other people. And why I can answer that and say that I feel like there's no support is because if there was, we would see a lot more African candidates standing up and stepping up to do exactly what I'm doing.
Exactly. So what would you say is your advice to the African candidates?
To the candidates or to the community?
To the Canadians, African
Canadians. So my advice to African, you know, Canadians is that, you know, we need to really start supporting each other, and not just our political candidates, but we need to start supporting our friends, our sisters, our brothers, our neighbors, everybody. You know, we can build a great economy here in Canada. When you look at China and you look at India, they've been able, especially China, been able to build global economy all over the world. Us Africans should be able to do the same. We should be able to have a whole land where we have shops, you know, with diverse African stores in it, where we have politicians who are representing not just the Canadian people, but the African people and the needs and you know, the things that, just supporting our experience and things that matter. So I'd say that, you know what, things will not start getting better until we start getting better ourselves. We think that we live in such a fortunate country. Well, let me tell you something, my brothers and sisters, my African brothers and sisters, our country can be so much better. Imagine a nation that is more inclusive. Imagine a nation where there are lots of members in our government who look like you and I, with the experience and the history that you and I have. We will be able to get better representation the moment we start supporting one another, and it will not happen until then. You know what? We're not in Africa, but we have a lot of Africans in Canada. Canada is home to a huge amount of population of Africans. So there's absolutely no reason as to why we can't be greater and better for all of us, because that's the end goal, in my opinion.
Awesome. Now, one final question before we wrap up this amazing interview. When was your best moment running? What would you say is your best memory so far you've had?
The best moment, I think, was not even during a general election, to be very honest. I think it was during an appointment process. I remember I was pretty much still younger, but I went into an appointment process, and I remember it was actually my first appointment process. Like, it was even before I ran in the general election. So I'm talking way back when I started politics. I remember being confident and being like 20 years old and walking into City Hall and putting my name forward to be appointed. Of course, I didn't get appointed, but my names were all over the blogs. The city clerk had actually put out a tweet on Twitter, and out of the 47 people who actually, I think about 40 to 47 people who put their name forward, they said the best out of all, my name was there, the best out of 3, and my name was amongst the 3. And then I had a whole bunch of other, you know, councilmen and women who, you know, said, we want to see you in this chambers. We want to see you here. You belong here. If you don't get appointed, we want to see you knock on doors. You should be here. And just getting that, it was my first time. So getting that affirmation and getting that support from some of my friends at City Hall, it meant a lot to me. And I think that also gave me the extra boost of confidence I needed at that early point of my career. But I'll add one more thing. I think one of the best parts from my whole election experience is also meeting people. Now, I've met thousands of people, thousands of people. I've knocked on thousands of people's door, invaded thousands of people's space, telling them about what I want to bring to this government, telling them about, you know, what my political plan and my vision looks like for our neighborhood and everything. And I've met some amazing people down the way, some new friends, some new supporters, and I think that was one of the most special moments, definitely for me. But politics is one thing, and I just really want to just end by saying this thing. You know, I always say history makers don't wait for things to happen. History makers, don't wait for things to happen. History makers make things happen. You know what I mean? And all of us play a part in making history. So we really need to be able to come together no matter who we are and push for diverse representation. It is time, Canada, for that diverse representation. We deserve it. It's been years. We have not seen it. It's time to break stereotypes and normalize what is not normal in our economy. only then will our economy be able to work for our people. And when I say our people, I'm not just talking about Africans, I'm talking about North Americans and Canadians here in Canada.
Awesome. I just want to say thank you so much. That was an amazing time. That was an amazing interview.
Yes.
Tell the people where they can find you and how we can support you.
Most definitely.
Especially.
Well, I'm, for first and foremost, I'm more than happy to have anyone follow me on social media.
Right.
My social media, I'm a Generation Z, okay?
Exactly.
I'm a politician, but I'm on Instagram. And I'm really out there on Instagram. So I'd say follow me at _MEHRET. That's at _Meheret. You can find me there on my Instagram handle. I post a lot of content with what I'm doing. You can also stay tuned for my YouTube channel where I'll be bringing a lot of people behind the scenes. So what my life in politics looks like.
Right.
So for now, that's where you can reach me, and I'm more than happy to get to know you guys and feel and have more support.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. That concludes our show for today on The Discussion. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please download the app, search GBKM on iOS or Android, and don't forget to leave comments, like, share on our YouTube or on our website or on our Facebook. Remember, every topic starts with a discussion. See you next week, same time, same place.
My name is Karo, and I'm currently a project coordinator. I took the project management course. I learned a number of things, one of which was interview skills. I learned about the Agile framework and how that's very different from the waterfall model of project management.
At Top Run Consulting, the key unique area that we try to focus on is not to just impart certification knowledge, but the application of real-world tools.
Back in June 2017, I did the business analysis course at Top Run. I learned the basic and advanced skills and tools to be successful in business analysis field.
Welcome to your favorite show, The Discussion. I'm your host, Chelsea Okonji. Thank you for joining us on the GBKM network. If you haven't yet, please download our app, search GBKM on iOS or Android, or you could just sign up on YouTube and follow, subscribe, comment, join the discussion. Remember to also follow us on all our socials. Just search for GBKM network and you'll be able to connect with us. Again, today, I am here with a very special guest. I mean, you can just imagine how excited I am and how excited I know you guys are since we put out the flyers that we have this special guest in here. We're discussing women taking up space and women in politics. And our guest is none other than the most vocal representative that is she's an advocate for youth representation. She is an advocate for promoting the culture and just inclusiveness. She is also a keen voice for the youth. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Go ahead and help me to welcome Itohan.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. It's an honor to be on the show here today.
Awesome.
I was definitely looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah.
Now I've watched you do your thing on the show, and I'm like, this is so perfect. I can't wait till she interviews me. However,
cool.
my name for the camera is Itohan Evagaru, and she's given me such a great introduction. There's not much more I can say.
No. You definitely wear many hats. So tell people about some of the things that you do, basically.
Well, there's a whole lot of things that I do. I don't really like to put myself in a bubble or, just put myself under one category. I think I'm very diverse, and even in what I do. So I think it's kind of cliche. I don't like the term to use that terminology and say I'm a politician. But what I do is I politic.
Yes.
And I aim to represent the underrepresented population here in Canada, and most specifically in the city of Toronto, but also in Africa, you know what I mean, where the roots are. So it's always been my, joy and duty to be able to stand for those who, you know, are not in the political sphere, those who may be young, but not really kind of haven't really wrapped their head around the political system. I've always tried to be that person in the middle to make sure that they're informed, because at the end of the day, they are the future of you know, any economy. And of course, you know, I think a huge representative for the culture. I love my culture a lot, and I do my best to make sure that it's, you know, implemented in everything that I do.
Let's get right into that, because you're definitely like you're so proud of your culture.
Of course.
You showcase it. If you go on her socials, you'll be able to see like you bring your culture with you, and sometimes it looks like it's very nice to see, especially here in the diaspora. So tell us, I just want to start from the beginning. Like, how did your journey even like start?
Well, honestly speaking, I have to, you know, I always, anytime I have the opportunity, I give my parents the most thanks, because I believe that if it wasn't for the type of parents that I'm blessed to have, I don't think I would be the woman that I am today. You know, I grew up in a home that was very diverse. My mother is an Eritrean, my father is a Nigerian, so it's from East and West Africa. And both of them are from two of the most powerful kingdoms in East and West Africa. So I've always seen that confidence within them. And, you know, one thing about my parents is that out of like all my siblings, everybody knows I'm the most spoiled child. Like, it was never a no. It was
Are you the middle child?
No, I'm not. No. It was never a no. It was never, oh, you can't do this. Like, my parents would like make sure that everything that was in their power to give me, I had it, and I had a lot of things. So I'm thankful for that. And that, the reason why I mentioned that is because without that, I don't think I'd have confidence. Actually, how it kind of made me get into politics in a sense is the fact that, you know, when you grow up and you're a diva and you're spoiled and you have all these different things, it's kind of hard to grow up and be in the real world and not have everyone say yes, to you, not have everyone say the world revolves around you. And
that is true.
I understood that. I knew there were more pressing issues and more bigger things that, you know, I had to get out of my head for. And I think with that being said, just the way I was raised, it kind of gave me that confidence already. So obviously when you kind of grow up and you have bigger issues to worry about, it's easy for you to step back into that diva zone, step back into that confidence zone and do what you do. And that's why I've been able to, I guess, build the empire that I'm building right now politically.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what? When I went to York University, studied global political studies, and I remember taking that major because I wanted to get into law school. So I'm like, oh, I need something, an undergrad, just anything. Let me get into law school. Doing politics in school was quite interesting because, you know, when you're in school, you're learning a lot of the books and the history. For me, I felt very bored of that. You know, I joined certain groups, Amnesty International. I was a part of all these little groups within the school, but I didn't like it. I said, you know what, me that I am, I like power. I like control. Going back to the diva mode that my parents created me to be. So I wanted something that's more realistic, more that's more impactful. So I started joining organizations out of school. I really put myself, you know, out there. I really put myself in seats and in positions where I didn't see anyone that looked like me. I remember sitting down in meetings where I wasn't invited. I would just go and sneak in and find myself sitting at the back there, being the youngest, being mainly, to be honest, the only black female in the room as well. And I would listen, and I'd always, you know, be able, I'd go and sneak and speak to these politicians and speak to all these leaders and tell them my views and tell them my, you know, my ideas and whatnot. And that only made me, I think, be more comfortable to kind of be more daring and challenge their ideas. But that's a little bit of just how the political journey started. I saw that, and when I finally got into the system and I realized that, you know, I was outside of school doing bigger things with different organizations in the open world, I realized that there was an underrepresentation. I realized that it's the problem is not me being the only female in the room, you know, black female in the room. The problem is the fact that even no matter what race was around me, there was nobody there that looked like me. And it's beyond race and color. It has to do with style, the way I think. You know, I'm born in a different generation. All these things, there was no one there. So that kind of just motivated me to really kick-started, and the rest was pretty much history.
That definitely brings me to the next question, because from what you've explained, it takes a lot of courage to, at such a young age, go and sit in those meetings and then like just go and speak to politicians without having any, you know, it takes a lot of courage.
It does.
So my next question is, being all that you are right now, you embrace your culture, you embrace the fact that you're a diva, you embrace your, you know, courage and everything, being a woman, being a minority, being a black woman, and being young as well. How do you think that has played a part in your life moving forward, especially where you are at right now?
Well, it's played a huge part in my life, to tell you the truth. It has a lot to do with my confidence, and confidence is everything, because say I'm not politicking today and I'm doing something else in life, I need that confidence.
That's true.
And fortunately for me, that confidence is what has basically been able to put me through different situations. I'll never forget the day someone close to me, I looked at this person as a big sister, and I know they meant well, but the way they came off, it was a lot. And I'll just give you that statement of what was said to me.
Okay.
I remember her saying, you know, she called me by my Rachel name. She says, Meheret. She's in London. She says, Meheret. I said, yes.
Okay.
She says, you have to decide whether you want to be a Barbie doll or you want to be a politician. So
wow.
I understood exactly what she meant. She meant you gotta make a decision if you want to be the person that you are, which is a diva, you know, the fierce woman that does so many other things outside of politics, or you have to decide to be the politician. Did that mean wearing suit and tie? Did that mean literally cutting off my friends and hanging out with older political leaders? Did that mean not attending certain events? Did it mean changing my life?
Yeah.
And that's where that boldness came in. So, you know, being who I am, seeing how diverse I am, seeing, you know, knowing my history as well. I always say to know where you're going to, you have to have an idea of where you came from. So all of that tied in gives me that confidence. And with that confidence, I can get through almost anything that I put my mind you know, towards. Amen.
Amen to that. That was a very well said answer. And have you found that, you know, by breaking the stereotypes, because you are breaking stereotypes, there are not many politicians that